Today I'm gonna do something pretty stupid. I'm gonna visit a tourist attraction that I know is gonna be a disappointment. Today I'm gonna visit Stonehenge, and I'm also gonna tell you about the most insane theories people have had about this ancient monument. Stonehenge is a world-famous neolithic monument that's around 5,000 years old, and it's also a cultural icon of the United Kingdom. When you see images of Stonehenge, you imagine a set of mystical stone pillars out in the wilderness, far from civilization. In reality, Stonehenge lies in the middle of a field next to a motorway, and it's not really all that mystical when you see it surrounded by all of these tourists. But with a little bit of imagination, you can still look at these stone pillars and think of how they used to look thousands of years ago, surrounded by pagans and druids. And imagination is something people definitely have had when they try to figure out why these ancient people built Stonehenge. Let's dive into the strangest and most insane theories people have had about Stonehenge. There's one thing that immediately comes to mind when you think about insane theories, and that is of course aliens. Some people claim that there's no way that ancient barbaric people could have built something as intricate as Stonehenge 5,000 years ago, so alien technology must be behind it all. Have those people ever heard about the pyramids? It's pretty well documented how the pyramids were built. If the ancient Egyptians could manage to build Khufu's pyramid, the Great Pyramid, 4,500 years ago, I think they could manage to drag a few stones here. No aliens are needed. In 1968, the Danish author Erich von Däniken also suggested that Stonehenge is an alien landing pad to indicate where our extraterrestrial visitors could land their ships. If it's not about aliens, it's about magic. Because another theory says that Merlin the wizard created Stonehenge. The 12th century writer Geoffrey of Monmouth describes how Uther Pendragon won a battle against the Saxons here, and he wanted to create a monument. Merlin apparently magicked away some stone blocks from a place called Giant's Dance in Ireland, and he placed them here, and that became Stonehenge. Then Uther Pendragon supposedly was buried here, in this ancient monument over his victory over the Saxons. But wait a second, what was that about Giant's Dance? Well, that leads us to the next insane theory, that Stonehenge was built by giants, or at least a giant. Giant's Dance was a monument in Ireland that was supposedly built by giants, so Merlin basically stole the stones from the giants and placed them here instead. But another theory says that Merlin asked a giant for help to build Stonehenge. However, that seems to be a later addition, created by Robert Wace, who translated the myth to French. He added some notes about how Merlin asked a giant for help to build Stonehenge instead of just magicking the stones away. Maybe he thought that sounded more plausible. Something that everyone knows is that Druids built Stonehenge, right? The problem is that Druids weren't around when Stonehenge was built. They came here 2,000 years later, and they simply used Stonehenge as a nice place for their rituals. The bit about Druids comes from the 17th century, when John Aubrey and William Stukeley declared that Stonehenge must absolutely positively be the work of Druids. No questions about it. So no questions were asked. And it's easy to see why people would believe such a theory, because it makes so much thematic sense. I've talked about magic and aliens, but what about a more down-to-earth theory that Stonehenge is a completely natural creation? Some geologists have proposed that Stonehenge is simply the creation of glaciers moving stones around during the Ice Age. I have a hard time imagining how anyone can propose that with a straight face, so I assume that there's a lot more to the theory than just that. I assume that what they mean is that glaciers could have transported the stones here to this general area, but that people raised them in a circle formation. At least I hope that's what they mean. Aside from theories about how Stonehenge was constructed, there are also theories about why it was constructed. According to the Greek writer Diodorus Siculus, in the 1st century BC, there was an island in the North Sea, far beyond the land of the Celts, where people worshipped Apollo. In his writing, he mentions a notable temple in a spherical shape, and some people believe that that referred to Stonehenge. So was Stonehenge an ancient temple dedicated to Apollo? Well, probably not. It is a very vague description after all. Another theory is that Stonehenge is actually a gigantic fertility symbol, and people worshipped Mother Earth here. You've heard about maypoles and other types of phallic symbols, right? Well, seen from above, you can imagine what Stonehenge might look like with a bit of imagination. Yeah, it's the female counterpart. But it does require quite a bit of a stretch of the imagination. Yet another theory speculates that the acoustics are pretty strange around Stonehenge. The stones apparently dampen sounds from the outside, but they also amplify sounds inside the circle. So was Stonehenge a concert hall? Did ancient pipers hold music events here? Was this the Woodstock of 5,000 years ago? Who knows? You've been to team building events, right? Where you do silly or pretentious stuff to bond with your colleagues? Well, some people believe that Stonehenge was just one big team-building exercise. Hundreds or thousands of people from Neolithic Britain would gather here to build something special together. They'd apparently feel a sense of unity and purpose as they dragged those huge stone blocks here and put them in a circle together. It does sound a bit far-fetched though, doesn't it? How often do you hear about people today coming together spontaneously to create huge monuments? Excavations in the area found lots of prehistoric animal bones, and that's led people to a pretty funny theory. What if Stonehenge is nothing more than an ancient party place? Some people speculate that ancient Stone Age people simply gathered here to socialize and have a good time. I can definitely see people having epic parties here, but I have a hard time imagining that they'd go through the trouble of building the place just to have a place to drink and hang out. I've mentioned a lot of more or less likely theories about Stonehenge, but what was its real purpose? No one knows for sure, of course, but these are the current leading theories. First of all, many believed that it was a holy site. Stonehenge likely had a roof back then, so it was more of a gathering place or a temple in ancient times. It's also believed that it might have been used as a burial site, along with being a temple. Another theory is that Stonehenge was a celestial observatory because its position aligns with both the winter and the summer solstice. It's possible that Stonehenge was used as an astronomical observatory for lots of other celestial bodies and events. Basically, this circle could be an ancient astronomical calendar. Finally, an interesting theory is that Stonehenge was a place of healing. The bluestones used to create Stonehenge come from a place in Wales where there are plenty of traditional healing springs. Many ancient visitors to Stonehenge also chipped off small pieces from the stones and kept them as amulets. However, all of Stonehenge isn't made of that bluestone. It's only the smaller stones that are made of bluestone. The bigger ones are just sandstone. And I haven't really heard about any magical healing properties of sandstone, so maybe this isn't a place of healing after all. But who knows? And there you have it. That was a list of the strangest theories people have had about Stonehenge. I hope you found it interesting. Like and subscribe, but most importantly, have a great day. Now go have a look at this video as well.